When you're starting over, you can't bring everything from your old life with you. You can't bring the old friends, not all of them anyway. And you can't bring the old you. This is the energy of this week. And you shouldn't be scared. You should be really, really excited. This is Spiritual Mixtape. I'm Daisy Mack. And this is the energy update for May the 18th to May the 24th. This one is called Disco Bambi and the Search for the Moon. There is a little bit of explaining for the new people here, and I promise I'll get to that, but I want to say something about the week that we're in, and the week that was, and the week that's coming. These last 3 weeks of May are a huge turning point. We had a weekend like this in March 20, and the days either side. And we have had glimmers of this since the start of the year. But really, since mid-December to now, we've still been doing a lot of maintenance, a lot of upkeep, full renovations, and we've yet to see what it's going to look like on the other side. This week, last week, and the week that's coming start wobbly, and then we end on a Sunday fun day. And it's going to feel a little, if you let it, like a rinse and repeat. Don't. Find the humour in this week, find the humour in next week. Because if you allow your nervous system to feel exhausted here, or you allow yourself to get stressed, you're going to miss Lady Luck, and you're going to miss the magic that's coming. Now, why I started on this You Can't Bring Old Friends is if you're really changing your life, if you're really creating something new, not just new in this life, but perhaps new for lifetimes. You're breaking generations of habits here. You simply cannot use the system that you once were in. You cannot be your old self in the thing that's coming now. And that's really hard to accept. And while I was going to say something like this today, this has partly come up because in a class I literally taught this morning, somebody asked me about what it was like to leave the music industry and to leave everything behind. And I said, not so bad, because I've healed now. But if you'd asked me, even 3 years ago, I would have said something different. But I'm happy now and I feel my purpose. But the one thing that is really clear is the people that were never going to big you up, who were never going to be your champions, they're not here. They're not here for your new life. And if you are truly leaving people behind, you cannot expect them to cheer you on and be there for you. You are literally walking away from the life that they have chosen. And not everyone is big enough to be okay with that. That's a painful realization. And I didn't necessarily think that was where this was going. But you have to follow the energy. And over the next 2 weeks, you are going to get clues. Little nuggets all over the place that will tell you what to care about, what to heal, how you should show up. Now, let me tell you about Disco Bambi. She came alive from one of the hardest moments of 2025. 14th of December, Mars squares Neptune. A messy moment of the whole year, and lots of people thought that it got messy in order for you to really see what you needed to leave in that 9 year, what was truly over for you. Here you go. Let's give you something really hard to percolate on. Now, what's happening this week and next week? Obviously, we're meeting the once in a blue moon, the full moon in Sagittarius, the second full moon of the month. But I say this because the full moon is on the 31st of May, and the last new moon in Sagittarius was on the 19th of December. And the 14th of December was the Sunday before that. So the Sunday before the new moon. So there's a link in energy and time here. And we do like to look at these timestamps because they help us to put things into patterns. And that's really what I do on the energy updates. I'm simply looking for patterns on how I feel. And intuitively, I'm like, oh, that's the one. That's the one that rings true. Now, here are the patterns that echo into this specific week. We're not worrying about next week yet. This specific week, the 18th to the 24th, we have Venus squaring Neptune. That's on Thursday. And Disco Bambi was born through Mars squaring Neptune on the 14th of December. So this week is having another moment with Neptune. Disco Bambi was born from Neptune squaring. That's a not positive moment. It can sometimes be a little positive, but think about it this way. When you have a square, it's like you're squaring up to somebody. You're going to have a fight. Some fights are productive. They are heated conversations that need to happen, but sometimes squares are just really combustible and not very nice. This one with Venus and Neptune is better. And it is a direct reflection or a direct jump from where we met Neptune with Mars in December. And it feels like they are telling or helping to tell a story that needs completion next week with the full moon in Sagittarius. Mars and Neptune met 6 days before the new moon in Sagittarius. So you went into that new moon, right, the final new moon of 2025, holding whatever had come up in that little bust up between Mars and Neptune. And for us at Spiritual Mixtape, Mars and Neptune's fight bore something great, and she was called Disco Bambi. Now, Disco Bambi is representative of all of us who start over, of all of us who do the brave thing, the fearless thing, and go, do you know what? This is not working for me, and I have to choose myself, and I have to choose something that's a better fit. And I can feel that it's right, even though everything around me says don't do it. Convention says don't do it. I cannot ignore this feeling. Ignoring this feeling is making me sick. That is who Disco Bambi is. She is becoming new, going out in your glitter, even when you feel like your whole legs are wobbly. She is true and testament that we can all have a rebirth. And rebirth is something that's happening in May because we started the month with a full moon in Scorpio. And these two moons, Scorpio and Sagittarius, these two full moons, hold the month. They're once in a blue moon energy. Your rebirth, the Scorpio side, finds its optimistic next step with its Sagittarius side. And the energy, the bridge that held it all, is Taurus. Now we have a speed up with Gemini. And that's what we start to see this week. But there is wobbly energy. The last week, next week, and this week starts with wobbly Mondays, ends with Sunday fun days. You have to keep going to the end. That's it. Sometimes I advocate for having a duvet day and just ignoring it all, and maybe something like next Monday, Memorial Day, maybe that's the day to do that. But you still have to get through the day. You still have to get up, breathe, go to bed, and start again on Tuesday. But I started this by saying you can't take everyone with you, and I want to make that really, really clear. Disco Bambi's whole job for us in the community was to put a little pack on her sweet little back, put her glitter on, and just go for it. Just get away. That is the energy you can't be afraid to hold. There's a letting go here. But with the letting go, which wasn't the truth in December, Disco Bambi had to let go and had to journey. There was no like sweet full moons that were going to give her lady luck and promises and all these sweet whimsical things that I say in the next 2 updates. You didn't get that in December. You just had to go through the fire and keep going. Well, not these next 2 weeks, but that doesn't mean that there aren't stretchy moments and growth points. There are. And I say, please keep going because something really great is on the other side of this growth. It's worth doing the hard thing for. These last 2 weeks of May are an example of how we create our own luck. If you want to be very lucky, it will take some reordering you have never done before because luck needs space to walk in. Since the eclipses, you have been trying to change for the better. You've probably felt things have been worse for it. And if you're honest, you've been creeping back to the old comfort of planning, being busy, and sticking with the old friends. Despite what happens over the next 2 weeks, there is no safety in going back. Overanalyzing, fixing, and controlling will not serve you like they used to. Messy action will. A calm step back will. And it may surprise you because luck is already walking alongside you. You can feel it. But it is waiting for the right moment to cross your path. The irony is that Lady Luck feels the most welcome in a heart that wants her help and leaves a little space. There are tough moments coming in the next 2 weeks, but that is why they are lucky. They are making you double down on what's working, what isn't working, and what just flat out is no longer available to you. This is the moment we welcome back our inner Disco Bambi, because her resilience as well as her sweetness will be a balm to your morale over the next few days. We met Disco Bambi in December. She was born from one of last year's most messy aspects, Mars squaring Neptune, in mid-December. She is proof that our hard moments birth our most brilliant eras. Disco Bambi is old school Disney, when tales were truer to a harder kind of life. She wasn't born into easy, yet she kept on going anyway. And things didn't end with mushy, cozy, and ideal. But Bambi's ending was fearless and full of integrity. And that is more akin to the energy of this month. How the wounds give you a voice and your power back. This week, you will feel like Disco Bambi, but not in the forest. You're in Wonderland now. This isn't a place you're staying, though. It is simply a place that you are passing through. And that's why when things get crazy, it's okay. You won't remain here for long. Think about it this way. In December, Disco Bambi was moving you and your decisions away from 2025, away from the people, the places that didn't serve you or her. Now, she's trotting, she's moving towards. I hope you get that distinction. You're no longer walking away from something. You're walking towards something. And in this case, she is heading and taking you to the full moon, the most optimistic and rare moon we'll have this year. But while you're in Wonderland, a word of advice. If you see a Cheshire cat and they smile at you, don't eat the mushroom. Not this week, not next week, maybe not at all this year. And look, by Friday, when Uranus is in the heart of the sun, you know you have reached that turning point. You're beginning to feel right timing and right information are two ingredients of luck, and hard work creates the opportunity for both of those things to arrive. You felt this in December. You felt the change. You knew that something positive could be at the end of it, even if you couldn't picture it. But when that happened, it felt a lot more like a breakdown. Now you're meeting the same energy, but it's feeling a lot more like a breakthrough. Trust in everything you have been building. Trust your vision and trust that the next street is where the magic unfolds at exactly the right time. We close this week with our most important star, the sun, dancing with Neptune. This is when you and Disco Bambi dance into the sunset and the words "to be continued" come across the screen. There is such a lot of goodwill here for you right now. The whole audience is on your side. Everyone knows that the dream is no longer somewhere out there, out of reach, just an idea. It is alive within you, and everyone is rooting for you to win and to watch the sequel. The adventures that are coming had to happen within you first. No Cheshire cat, no mushrooms. Within you first. So hold the vision, Disco Bambi. Your lucky breakthrough is on the other side of that blue moon. Now, practices-wise, we have the Vision Challenge happening in the membership at the moment, and I would love you to be there. It's a 7-day free trial or $40 a month. Please try it. Please just give it a go. Just do the free trial and then just cancel it if it's not, what you need. But I think you'll want to stay. But having said all of that, it's so important right now to hold what's happening inside of you strongly and clearly and keep that signal on. And for you to be so clear and certain up here and in the heart and in the mind that you know where you're going, and that this vision, just because it's not out there in the real world yet, doesn't mean that it isn't true. Because there's a lot right now that is here to help you, wanting you to grow, all these fun moons, all these, lady lucks. But there's also a lot that is trying to send you back and divert that energy elsewhere, because that's life. And that is the messy duality that we live in right now. So you have to keep picking the vision. And I am really crazy about the breath work, because I do think we can talk about the energy here, and then the breath work allows us to embody it and channel it somewhere ideally that you want it to go. So the Vision Challenge is the practices that I'm pushing this week. But if you are not quite ready to commit to that yet, we have the energy collection sitting in the free side of the membership. And this week we drop Gemini. Now, Gemini is a little darker in her approach. Her new moon one is very lovely and uplifting, but the Gemini season one is very much about holding your shadow, and you feel that through this breath work. But you also have the Taurus new moon one, which you could do at any point this week. The gates are open, or the portal's open, and you can do a combination of them if you're not quite ready for the Vision Challenge. But I think If you've sat and listened to me talk this far, you're ready to do the vision challenge, and you should be using your breath to tune your nervous system, create some new neural pathways, and be on your way with this. Now, all I'm going to do this week is read you one of the updates. There is so much happening each day that if you want to read the full update, it's in the written side, which is in my free community. And when you become a free community member, they get emailed to you. But I just want to end on this Sunday. The Monday is really important too. Like all of these days are quite important because they're all different aspects of this story, especially if you're really feeling 2023 and the end of 2025 as important moments for where your narrative is now. Sunday, the 24th of May, the sun sextiles Neptune. Your heart and mind have been open to just how good things can get. And that has given you the plan that you created on Friday with more color and more imagination today. This is still a week that isn't go, 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 but don't underestimate the value these dreamy planning sessions have. You are going places you have never been. Dreams are fulfilling across multiple timelines. And that takes a work that is invisible but mighty. That's the energy that we end on. I started this podcast talking to you about the energy of Neptune in December and the energy of Neptune now. Neptune is our belief system, our spiritual side, and it's really about how we move beyond money. I still think Neptune likes money though, and Taurus definitely does, but it's really about how you feel both small and large at once. And some people won't get that. And some people will be like, oh my gosh, ding, ding, ding. That sounds absolutely like me. If you have a big vision and a big dream and you feel like over the last 8 years, you've been completely far away from it, but at the same time, right up against it, but just slightly out of reach, this is the week to come back to the vision, to really nail in this Neptune. It doesn't happen all the time. And all of this is lining up for a really, really lucky full moon. And full moons are not lucky as a general rule, but this one is coming, and it is, and it's a gift in a year that is laying a foundation into quite deep bedrock, to be honest. Well, look, I'm going to leave it there. That was slightly longer than I meant to go, but I love doing these updates with you. Please, 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 please leave your comments. I love hearing from you. If any of this resonated, if anything in my story resonates with you, if you are on a journey where you feel a little lonely because you've had to leave some people behind, comment, let us know, let everyone cheer you on. And I am sending you everything within me for you to have the most incredible May. See you next week. Bye.